All right. Hey guys, how you doing? Just checking in, seeing if you're able to hear me. Glad to see you. Been a while since we've had one of these, huh? For those of you who've hit them before. Oh boy. So yeah, I'm recognizing a bunch of you guys. That's cool. Some new faces. Let me see. First of all, I got to pop that questions box out, don't I? Make it more obvious. Make sure I can hear you and that you can hear me. So let me pop that thing out, actually. Okay, guys, yeah, do me a favor. Say something, questions high, something like that. Sound good? Uh-huh. Okay, that way you can just make sure you can hear me. Okay, all right. If you can hear me, type, you look ugly. All right. Okay, so I'm seeing what I need to say. All right, great. Let me see. I'm going to go through and do a couple of sort of some preemptive moves to pointing out where you're at in the panel. First, so that you can see where we're at, and just head off a bunch of questions I'm probably going to answer first anyway. And then we're going to go ahead after that and go through Q&A, no problem. This will take, as long as you want. But I'll go through the basic stuff up front, probably take about 20 minutes or so, maybe a little more, just to kind of like go through some topics. I'll ask, are you guys getting this? Just making sure you are. Some of you guys are going to snatch on quicker than others because you're more familiar with HTML5, CSS3, Bootstrap environments. Okay, let me see, where do I want to start? Let me start with this. How many of you guys have been able to go and get yourself a T2H2 account and sign into it, and start playing with it? Yes, William, thanks. Recording, I am. I am indeed. Excellent. Thank you for reminding me. Okay, so just say me or something and says so I can tell the difference between the yeses and hellos. All right. And just to ask a more obvious question, has anyone here not been able to set up an account or didn't know how? Just double checking, because if you didn't, I could walk through it really, really quick, and figure out how to add up the extra themes. Okay, I see. Some of you guys didn't. Some of you guys thought when you hit the page that you were supposed to pay, because you saw my first message, right? That went out where I didn't describe it very much. I just said it was a payment through the PayPal sandbox, right? Okay, here we go. Just so you know, if you don't know, and also for the sake of the recording, for those who are following, we're going to take down the sandbox accounts here in about a week. We're really feeling good with the back end. We're going to be adding features left and right. Every couple of days, something new. You just simply log in and hit the update button at the top, the way you guys have been doing already. If you've logged in any time recently, you've seen it. And it's been producing updates. You haven't had any idea what they were for. Most likely, right? Okay, so next week we're going to drop the sandbox, and just the guys who own it are going to be able to continue with their accounts the way they have them set up now, so that you don't lose any work. Yes, we're going to be adding in the backup feature very soon. We're going to add in the export feature very soon. You're going to be able to start doing more. The distributable version will come after a while, but we're happy right now with being able to work in the environment here. So we're just doing it here, but we are going to add export and backup, so you're going to be able to very easily save your work and very easily put out websites. Okay, so this is stuff that's coming. All right, if you haven't yet gotten an account, just go to plus.theme2html.com. Okay, plus dot, and there you will be given the option to register. That's kind of the idea. Close other tabs, and so you can register. And when you do, it gives you the whole long thing to fill out. And so I'm just going to use my handy dandy RoboForm. Those of you who have RoboForm find that extremely enjoyable, don't you? I'm thinking you do. All right. And I'm just going to create some new account. Okay. And so I'm going to accept the terms. There aren't really any terms yet when you open it. It's just blank. But sometime or another, there will be some kind of terms. We're still having fun building it. All right, now, when you agree, you can register and pay, okay, and that's the idea. It's already registered. Let me try again, because I've got different accounts in here as we keep going through and updating stuff all the time, right? Let me try this. Okay. Oh, well. Okay. Oh, it may say already updated on that, too. Let me see. And if it does, I'm going to come back and do support. Oh, there we go. Okay, good. Now, here's the point, and here's where some of you guys stopped. and said, whoa. Okay, reality check is, let me see, I have no need to save it. It's just like one time coming through here. This is called a sandbox. That means up here it says sandbox. That means that this is not real. You're not actually making a payment. There is no money trading hands. So when you are clicking, now down here it was like, use the credit card information and all that stuff. If you saw that, don't. Go up here where it's saying pay with my PayPal account, okay? Now, don't log in with your PayPal account. Log in with the dummy account. That is this buy T2H2 at theme2html.com. And then the password is simply theme2html, okay? Theme2html. So you're pretending to be someone else, so to speak, okay? And that way you can log in. You can say private computer or not, doesn't matter. And then when you log in, it just goes through the action of saying, okay, you've been paid, and it creates you an account. And there we go. Now, if we go back, okay, and of course what happened was you got an email telling you how to get in your account. Most of you guys have seen it if you've set it up. And what happens is when you get back to the store, you have a login button right here. And so when you click it, okay, we click login, you get the login pop-up, okay? Now, what I just used hello, okay. There we go. And this is some bizarre thing. Okay, that should do the trick. Yeah, it did. Now, I just go ahead and say that one. Okay, so there you go. That was the thing about doing it. Now, if you go to buy additional themes, right now it's being set up so that additional themes are something you would purchase, because someday you guys are going to want to create your own themes and put them into a marketplace, and so they're going to be for sale. You get commissions on all the sales, right? That's cool. For those of you who feel like creating themes for other people, that's cool. As a matter of fact, I'll give you some examples. I've got to put down my list here real quick, some examples of taking a template and changing it. You guys all saw the donate template, the Africa template. Is that right? Have you guys all seen that? Just say yes. So I see it. Let me make a note about this, by the way. Okay. All right. Let me see. I'll close this. I don't need it anymore. And I'm here. I just want to point this out real quick, that you can take an award-winning design in a website and just swap out the images, swap out the colors, swap out the content, and you have something completely new, even before you move any elements or anything else. I just want to show you that kind of fluidity. You can actually create from scratch too, okay? But let me just show you what I mean. First of all, where was that thing? Right here. Okay. Now, if you guys have seen this, you guys have seen. So here's the top end, right? And it's a sliding banner. If your mouse comes off of it, it's like a 5-second delay, and then boom, to the next image. If your mouse hovers over it, it doesn't move. It waits for you to consider clicking, right? Now, you come down, and you've got a little section, and you notice cool effects. When you hover over an image, it kind of curls and pulls forward like this, right? It's pretty nice. It's nice having little effects like this. Yeah, we're putting it in the back panel. You guys are going to have this soon as a choice, okay? And then you get your parallax image here, okay? And so it's sliding up. That's cool. And you get this whole counter that pops in and speeds up. That's nice to see. These things are all easy, okay? And then when you scroll down, you can have more things. You see how it glides in from item to item to item, and still you can make the images, curl and pull forward. Things like this are easy enough to do in the back end with preset standards that allow you to pull that off. You don't have to think them up. You just choose from the toys in the drop-down box. I want it to spin left. I want it to rotate in right. I want it to bounce in from the top. I want it to do whatever I want. And there are just a bunch of options for this, so it's very, very cool. And you scroll down, you see the rest of the page. Now, I just showed you a particular theme, okay? And this is an award-winning template. It was a theme forest with hundreds of people voting on best designs, hundreds of website designers voting. And this website was done by our programming crew some time back, and it won Best Website Award, Best Website Design. And it was also set to be code error free. Why do I talk about code error free? And I better shut this because you'll get dizzy staring at it. And the point I want to make is this, too. When I made a version of this to show some lawyer. Let me just show you what I mean. Okay? You may recognize this. Okay? Guess what's up here? basic pages. You'll understand how these plug and play when I show you. This is, again, the banner slider idea. This can be another image, another image, another image, and it can have its print, and it can have its point. This is for a lawyer. This is the donate theme. Okay, scroll down. We're your advisor. Lorem ipsum, right? A lot of lorem ipsum right now. What do you see down here? Sure enough, same thing. If I hover over this, it would pull up into the right, pull up into the right, pull up into the right, for example. But there it is. It's all here. Do I need to use this particular kind of color? Nah, I can choose from an infinite number of colors for the background, an infinite number of colors for the fonts, and an infinite choice of font styles, sizes. You can do all of that easily enough in T2H2. You decide whatever it is you want or whatever the client wants, if there's a client involved, and that kind of a thing can be put together. We're going to put the donate theme in the back, like I said, and you're going to be able to build something like this. Now, of course, this is an image, so the background image is not doing any parallax anything because this whole thing is a JPEG I'm showing you, right? It's just a JPEG. But the reality check is that would be your parallax image. It's like the faces of the kids, and when you pull it down, you see a bunch of faces go by. Same thing here. It could be a law room in the background. It could be a city that the lawyer represents, and this could be like the nightscape of the city or the dayscape of the city. Probably dayscape makes more sense in this case, but something like that. And you come down, and you've got most recent cases, and if we were to hover over one of these, it could pull up into the right a little bit, just to really make it stand out, okay? Little effects like that. And then you come down, there could be a counter, and the counter could count, 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 count. Again, it's not doing it because this is an image, but it will be doing it on the real website if that's what you want, if you want that kind of effect. You can turn effects on or off. You can turn whether these images, rotate and pull up into the right or not, on or off. You can turn whether the numbers count up or just start that way, on or off. It's up to you. And then you can close out with whatever you want, but this is pretty much it. We closed it out. My point again is that this is the donate template, okay? Now, most people looking at it would not ever guess that this is the same template as that donate template, but it is, okay? Just so you know. So you can do one for a roofer, do one for a lawyer, do one for a landscaper, do one for a dentist, do one for anybody, and you can come out and say your website will be based on a top awarded website, top award for combination of best coding possible plus best design choice, okay, as chosen by the programmers who voted on other people's work besides their own. Okay, you can say things like that, and it's because it already exists for you to play with. All right, that's just neat. Okay, and color coding changes and everything else is just choices in the back. Okay, so far you guys see what's going on. You guys understand all that probably. Yeah. Are you guys still awake? Say yes if you are, just so I know I'm not boring you. Taking a sip. Looks awesome. Yeah, thanks. Thanks, Todd. Yeah. I'll tell you what. Yeah, it's really a big deal because you can go anywhere, okay? Go to PayPal and look at the way their website is designed. Want to build it? Go right ahead, okay? Go look at Macy's at the way their website's designed. Feel like building it? Go right ahead. The total functionality for building pretty much anything you want is being plugged into T2H2 one chunk at a time and tested. And we've got a lot of stuff coming out, a lot of stuff that is out, but it's full scale. This is modern as it gets. Okay, now I created my account, I logged into my account, and here I'm sitting in my account, okay? And again, you got your emails telling you how to get in. And at first you don't have anywhere to go, and you think, what the heck do I do now? Nothing's clickable, like this is not clickable, or even if it is, it doesn't matter. Sorry, it just clicks through to here. That's my point. All right, now you have to add themes to this particular panel. And the reason for that whole thing is there are going to be people buying multiple licenses. They'll get licenses for websites because they're going to offer admin panels with the websites, and they're going to have two different levels. I got a guy right now who has paid for a particular project to be done for them, and the first chunk that they paid for is for automation, and I'll just describe that in some other sessions. Interesting. But one thing that they're doing is they're offering an upsell option, and so you can either buy the website or buy the website with the admin panel and just throw in the admin panel for some extra money. And because he's got a really big account with us, doing something very large with us, we're working with him, then we're just giving him a lot of room because he had 200 pending orders, so we're doing 200 accounts for the guy. It's kind of wild. So that's crazy, isn't it? But that's what I mean. There are people that are reacting to this so hard and fast, it's insane. I had a guy accidentally call me and just ask a question about whether the bulk subdomain creator could do something. And I said, no, it doesn't do that. It's built to do this, which is kind of what we do. And the guy said, okay, that's good. By the way, do you guys do this? And I said, well, yeah, we do that. And he goes, by the way, do you do that? I said, yeah, we do that too. And next thing I knew, we were talking about a really big account here, and that was another just a case of somebody stumbling into it. A lot of you guys are going to stumble into people who are dying to pay you for a website that's solid with an admin panel on the back. Why? Because if you want to buy a website like this right now, if you go to, I'll give you an example. If you go to something like, and you guys can do the research. I'm not even trying to pitch how to sell it or anything. There's, I don't know, who's out there? Odd Dog Media. I haven't even taken a look in a while. They put up their offers, and when you want to go and you want to buy their website, and you're getting something like this with the parallax and everything else, okay, and it's got all the pop-in, everything that you're able to build in the back end. I mean, you can build this now in T2H2. All right, you really can. You can build this right now in T2H2. These guys' websites, you know, you can go look at their packages and their features and stuff, but by the time a company is actually buying this and getting the full job done, it's like $8,500 to $12,500 per website, okay? Do you think you could compete with that if you understood how to pull it off? Yeah, you could compete with that if you understood how to pull it off. By the way, where do you think the images came from? Most likely Shutterstock.com. If a client pays you a chunk of money, you can go to Shutterstock and get like a day access, and you're allowed to download, I don't know how many, maybe up to 50 images. And they'll just charge you for like a day access up to 50 images or whatever it is, up to 25 images. And it'll be, I don't know, 80 bucks or something, okay, a little bit. But then guess what? You're just buying a whole stack of images that you're going to flip in and out for that client. So if a client's paying you what, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 for a website with an admin panel, okay, and you're just paying a bit for the licenses, they're going to be kept relatively cheap in the back end. As far as you being able to go and buy additional licenses, that'll be pretty cheap. We haven't decided the price yet, but it will be in the hundreds, not the thousands, and it'll be the lower end of the hundreds, okay? Probably, I don't know, it might be $250 to get a first panel, and additional panels might be less. Over time, of course, that stuff could grow, but it really depends. We may just come out with levels, and I'll explain why in a little bit, because there's a lot going on. All right, let me point this one out, though. You could buy all the images for a website like this for a client, all in one shot for like 50 bucks, okay? And big deal. And what you're really getting is like 4 times as many images as they're ever going to use, okay? You're getting a bunch of images that they might like, and they're going to choose from them, okay? That kind of thing, right? But again, if you're selling the website for, again, how much, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000, then that's not even an investment. That's like 1% of the cost, right? And you're really, I've had people say once, what are you paying for when you buy a website? The answer is the amount of physical man hours somebody has to put into it, okay? There are a lot of man hours making a website look like yours. Now that this is done, if I wanted to buy a copy of it, that's pretty cheap, right? You can go to a theme store and buy a theme. But to get the theme and professionally do it a certain way, that's where it usually gets more expensive, and that's where your time becomes worth a lot if you know how to do this kind of development, this kind of design. And the purpose of T2H2 is to make that world quite easy for you, okay? That's the whole thing there. And the great thing about T2H2 compared to others, okay, WordPress included, does WordPress the company produce the add-ons or the plugins that go into WordPress? That's my question for you. No, they don't, do they? People do. Tons of people. And those add-ons clash, right? They crash. WordPress makes an upgrade and a bunch of those add-ons fail. Most of the people you talk to like WordPress, generally speaking. They like the fact that there's an admin panel, but they absolutely hate the glitchiness of WordPress. Well, with us, we're creating our own add-ons, we're creating our own plugins. We can do it all, but we are testing it ourselves. We're putting the features in ourselves. We're making sure they're good ourselves, you know. And what that means is it won't be glitchy. It'll work, okay? All right? That's kind of cool. We're also at the back end of support. I'll show you some more stuff soon. We're going to white label. I'll get into that in a minute. Let me just come back to this. So, all right, I cannot get into my account, so let me add a theme. Let me at least choose. Now, a first theme will come with the account. That's the basic sense. Now, for you guys who are the early birds, you get a lot more than that free anyway, okay? But moving forward, it's going to be like pick your theme. We're going to have 1, 2, or 3 that you can pick for free, and after that, they're going to cost something. We'll figure it out. And they're not going to cost a lot each, but we're going to have different packages, so whatever. I mean, we'll figure out the pricing later. It's bits and pieces of stuff. But right now, early birds always get the best deals, and that's the thing. If you haven't bought it, buy it. If you have bought it, pat yourself on the back for buying it. You're going to get more stuff than guys following you. That's all. Or you're going to get it cheaper. That's all. Yeah, you'll get it cheaper. You won't get more stuff, but you'll get it cheaper. Okay, so let me go. Yeah, there you go. That's cool. All right, now let me go and activate a theme. I'll just pick one. I'll just pick this one, okay. Now it's going to go. Now, one of the things I want to point out is it's creating a subdomain. So I've had some people go, hey, I activated the theme, first theme, and then it said it's ready or something, and then I went there and it wouldn't go there. It said, hey, this thing is, there's an error or it doesn't exist or whatever. The answer is come back in a minute because it's a subdomain. And sometimes subdomains take a little time to populate, and so you might not see it right away. It may give you an error and say it's not here yet. See, just like that. But it will not be long before the thing works. So let me just go ahead, because it's a subdomain. Just give it a few minutes to propagate, okay? All right, so I'm going to come back to my account. There's the domain name, the actual domain, and then here is the login URL to the back panel. Now, it might be that this thing is on, and if it isn't still, all it is, see, that's it. That was all the difference there was. Now, here's the thing. It's asking me to sign in, admin, and the thing is, I do not know what the logon password for that would be because it's brand new. So, you know, my Google Chrome's trying to guess, but that's not, probably won't be, yeah, it won't be right. I could hit forgot password, but chances are good if I just check my mail, right? I'm going to see it in my mail. And that's true. Okay. We just come back and get whatever the password is out of my mail. Okay. So just turn the thing on. There we go. Okay. So this should be it right here. Okay. All right. And I'm going to go ahead and save that. And I'm in. Okay. Now, what do we have happening back here? And the answer is obviously a lot. Oh, boy. Have any of you guys gotten T2H2 like this, the way we have it now, and you have not gotten theme to HTML, the first one? So, like, you never saw any of the first features in theme to HTML, you know? Because if you have theme to HTML, you're already familiar with a bunch of these, right? Like under general settings. Wait a minute. Let me open. Should open. And then when you go, I mean, you'd see features you recognize. Let me see why it's held up now. Maybe something I'm doing. Okay, there it is. All right, and so you would recognize things like this from theme to HTML, the first one, right? And so here it is. There's your general settings. Okay. So yeah, one thing I'll do is break through the mystery of what these templates are all about, and I'm just going to kind of walk through the top two and sort of point some of these out. The most important thing back here to consider first are themes, right? Now, if you're wondering where you are and what it looks like, just do this. Reach up to the logo and just click it. That way, oh, that's right. It's going to keep holding this in my internet cache, okay? And I'm going to have to go deal with that. All right, well, let me see. Either I can clear it or I can just, you know what I'll do? I'll just go to another account because I have like a bunch. All right, let me just go to another account that's already propagated. Sorry about the confusion there. Let me see. Okay, let's just go to like here. Okay, there we go. Now if I go in, all right, and now I can go in, and now I can show you. Okay, here we go. Now, first of all, if I go to themes, okay, and I go to show all the themes, okay, there you go, themes. A lot of these buttons, you got to drop them to see what the choices are. So if you hit that, this is show all, okay? If I show all, I'll see the themes that I got in my console already. And by the way, how did you get additional themes? The last thing I want to cover there, you just went to add theme, all right, and you add more themes, okay, and you choose one that is not already activated. Obviously, I have these activated. You hit it, and you go again through the PayPal sandbox, quote unquote, buy it, and it'll say go check your account again, and it's been added to your account, okay? All right. So here now, if I want to show all the themes, I'm going to see them. There's a theme, there's a theme, there's a theme, there's a theme. Now, which one is active? It's the one where the button is not saying activate. See how this says activate, activate? That doesn't, it says customize, okay? And then that says activate. So this one is the active one. It's that nice and clean template, okay? So if I were to hit this now, okay, that's what's going to show me, the nice and clean template, all right? And, you know, I can scroll down, take a look at it, and see what's going on with this thing, okay? Now, I'll go through and explain the way these pages work. For a lot of people, Bootstrap is new, okay, and you just don't understand the concept of containers and elements inside the containers, stacking elements on the page this way, okay? But it's not so hard, just got to get used to it. All right, so if I hit customize, let me just point out, there's a couple of buttons here, and then there would be a delete button, right? There's no delete button here, probably because it's the first one that went with the account, okay? Now, if I hit customize, okay, it's showing me two different choices of templates, all right? So when you start, if you don't understand this, you might think, well, what's with the difference? I'm going to erase that mystery pretty soon. You'll see how this works. The nice clean template, number one here, let me just take a look at that thing, okay? And we have something to take a good look at, something that's called a container, all right? That's this big long bar up here. See how it says add container? If I hit the plus sign, it'll put a new container at the very, very bottom. It's the newest container we're adding, okay? And it'll be empty. There won't be anything inside the container. It'll kind of look like this, all right, because it'll be empty. We could add elements, which put elements inside the container, and as you can imagine, these must be elements like this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, okay? Yeah, there's your close and expand, right? Just helps you kind of see better whatever you want to work on at a time that actually exists for all of these, okay, just so you can see it. All right, so you have a bunch of containers with elements inside them. All right, let's start with containers first. We seem to have quite a few. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. You know, we could keep counting kind of like real quick, right? 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So there's 11 containers on this page. What would a container be? Well, a container is the very thing that makes HTML5 look like it has long bars going from one end of the page to the other, or bars that are structured anyway, okay? So like the black bar at the top doesn't really belong to the page. It just appears to be here because I'm logged in. If I want to go back into the admin panel, I can just hit this guy up here, this page, right? And it'll open up an admin panel for me and kind of show me the page I'm on. I'll come back to that in a minute because I want to tie together themes and pages in a minute, okay? So here's the idea. This is a bar. It's got a left header and a right header. There's things like that. We'll see that. And the coolest thing is, you know, when you drag down, this flips and follows you down, okay? These are choices that are controllable, little font choices that are controllable, okay, in the back end, all right? So you can decide whether it's supposed to be transparent, black, white, blue, green, or red, or whatever, okay? And then for each bar, the idea is, as you can imagine, can I first identify what the bars are and then identify what's inside the bars, you know, and then can I make a bar? You know, can I make a bar that does what I want it to do? And about the time that you can start making bars do what you want them to do, then you realize what you're doing is building like mini websites, putting an image background, and putting a little box on it that says get a quote now, you'll find is pretty easy. Okay, and here's an edit button. How come I see an edit button on this thing? Because I'm logged in. Okay, now what do we have underneath that? Well, guess what? We have another bar. This one. This is a different, almost like a different web page already, you could say, because it acts independently of the one above it. It is the second container. And inside of it is one thing here that you could edit, another thing here that you could edit, and another one. Okay? And then there's a lower piece down here, a divider, just to add some more distance, okay, before the next stuff appears. All right? And then guess what? Underneath that, see, if you think about it as the endpoint of this, then this becomes the next bar. And that's exactly what you're staring at here. And it only has really two things in it. Something here on the left, a little box. You can see the box highlight when you hover over edit, right? And an image over here. That's pretty much what's going on, okay? And that's it. It's like a mini website. Some print with a button and an image. And guess what? There's a new box, okay? Another container, and it's got an image slider, okay? And the slider's got the cool little buttons that already exist that come just predisposed this way for the fun of it, okay? All right, so you don't have to mess with figuring out how to create them. The assumption is everybody would want something like that, so they're already there, okay? And then there's more spacers, simple little dividers, and then it continues. Okay, are you guys getting this idea? Containers work that way. Does anyone know the number of columns that exist on this page, the total number of true columns that exist on this page? It's a bootstrap question, actually. I'm just wondering if anyone knows. Okay, somebody said 1 column. Somebody said 4 columns. What else have we got? Huh. Anyone? Ooh, Mike. Mike said 12. Are you guessing, Mike, or are you certain? Richard says 0. Oh, that's funny. Is it an educated guess, Mike? Just wondering. Yeah, and I'm getting a 6. I'm getting different things. The answer is 12. Bootstrap. Somehow I think that's sarcasm, Mike. He's saying, nah. Oh, boy. Yeah, in Bootstrap, there is a possible number of columns called 12, really, except that 12 is like so tiny. 1/12 of the page is so tiny it doesn't even make sense. I mean, you don't put anything of real substance in 1/12 of the page. So we have presets, okay? They don't go quite down that far. They go down to a 1/6, all right? So it would seem like there's a total of 6, really, and here's the idea. You could say that this is 1 column here, and then another, that's 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6, right, would kind of be the concept there, okay? And so that would be 6 columns, all right? And then the rest of these are plug-and-play items that you can just plug and play into your containers, all right? That stuff is coming. Adding videos and stuff, and there's tons of edit buttons. You know what's the coolest thing about these edit buttons, right? You want to edit something? Now, in the back end, it's kind of hard to tell where it is, right? Watch me map it out, though, just a little bit of it. At the top, here's a container that has just one thing in it called column. And column really means some print in a way, but that's it. It's at the top. So if I go to the top, first of all, can I guess which that is? The answer is probably it's this here with this here, because I don't see any edit button above it. And this is the first edit button on the whole page, so that has to be it. Second point is this. If I click it, where does it take me? Okay. Opens up a new page, and there you go. It takes me right there so I can make changes, all right? Notice the drop-downs. I can highlight something and go to Formats, and I can make it an H1, H2, H3, H4, okay? And then I can highlight something else, use Formats, and make it something else. I can do what I want with these things. Make it a paragraph, okay? Now, where do these styles get controlled from? In theme to HTML, you would control your H1, H2, H3 paragraph and so forth here in theme, font, and style, right? That's still true, but then we also have a micromanagement for each element to be controlled separately And it applies in many cases. Either you wind up with a WYSIWYG like this, okay, or for some of these things, there's custom classes, and you can choose. We actually have a drop-down box happening for the custom classes now, and we just put a few in, mostly to get the functionality to work. But we're going to wind up putting a whole lot in soon, and that is all of the presets that are built in a Bootstrap. Okay, let me wrap that up so it makes sense. Does anyone understand that Bootstrap, maybe you know, maybe you don't, Bootstrap comes with a jQuery file that's pre-configured with tons and tons and tons of custom classes, all right? And so the trick when you're building a web page is you kind of have to sift through the classes and figure out what you want. Well, in our case, we're just going to straight lay them out so you can go through them and see which ones you like. They're going to be laid out according to groups, depending on, you know, container element, what kind of element, etc. Okay, so you'll see, but it's just really, really cool to know. All right, now, so that stuff is going to make it really easy for you to create about any website you want, because the custom classes are already there to take care of you. Okay, you don't have to invent the custom class. You would not have to come up with a bit of code that puts a tiny bar up here. You might want to choose whether it's blue or green or red, depending on whether it belongs to the website style, but you don't want to invent that, right? You want that to be an option you just flip on or off or switch between. That's what's happening, okay? And you'll see more and more of that with upcoming upgrades. Every time you hit that blue upgrade button at the top, something new and cool just happened inside your T2H2 panel that gives you a lot more control than you had the day before, okay? So that's cool to know. Let me continue. When I did pop that edit button up, it hit up this column, and if I want to hit it again, I'll hit the pencil here, right? See how there's a pencil sort of? It says edit when you hover over it. Same with the containers. You can edit the container, you can edit the element, okay? Now, if I hit it, sure enough, I see what I was just looking at before. Now, I ask you, do you remember that this was red and red before? No. It wasn't, was it? It was brown and brown, or whatever this is, gray and gray. Actually, I shouldn't say brown. It's gray, right? It's gray, isn't it? Gray, right? Okay. Well, what's with the red? Okay, the red is so you can easily see where you are. It tells you the container you were on and the element you were editing. Okay, so for instance, let's close that out. Let's say I wanted to go somewhere else on the page. See, this is what makes it easy to edit. Say I want to edit the latest news block, and I have no idea where that is in this back panel. You know, if I go down here, it's like, well, where is it? Which one of these was it? That's hard to know, right? But if I'm just sitting out here, I can just hit it, and it's going to pop it up, okay? And along with popping it up, if I look behind it, there it is. That is the container it was in. That is the element I am right now editing, okay? Okay, and it's even called news. That's there you go. That helps. All right. All right. So far, you guys are starting to understand, right? There is a container, and you can have any number of elements inside of it, and you can add new elements to your container, add new elements to your container, and you can sort them and do anything you want with them. Now, let's take a look at the top again. Let's just kind of do this real quick to get this in our heads. You guys sort of get it? One container, one element over here, kind of on the left. That's this container with this element. So if you wanted to learn how it works, if you're thinking, all right, if I want to produce another container with an element, and I want to produce a container like this, and I want to produce an element like this, how did they work? Well, go and look at the settings and understand what you see. Okay, I'm going to take that text white off probably. That's what I mean by the way of custom class having a drop down. This didn't used to be here. It's being built in, and we're going to have it. Okay, and and by the way, when you make changes in this backend, anytime you change stuff in the containers and the elements, they did not save until you hit the save button. There's one at the top, and there's one at the bottom. Okay, so go for the nearest one. It's like an airplane exit, right? If the airplane's going down, go for the nearest one. All right, so either one will do the job just fine. It doesn't matter which one you hit. But there you go. Now, let me get a sip of water. When I refresh, okay, the color went out. Now I can go deal with it separately in the font and colors, okay? I can go back here to theme font and color and decide whether that's supposed to be gray, white, blue, green, or what. But in the meantime, if I just want to deal with it locally, I can deal with it locally. Oh, by the way, this is that other category. Let me come back to that in a minute. All right. Text white. Let me just make it text white. It's a local control. All right. Now, we're going to go through the rest of this in a second because a lot of this is a blast. I just want to point this out. It's important to get the concept of containers and elements down first real quick. If you add a container, it will always be the full width of the page. That's the idea, that the container takes up a whole full width of the page. Okay? But when you add elements, they can be any size, all right? All right, so first of all, let's just take a look at them, and then we'll think about resizing them. There's the one with the one column. What do we have below it? It's a container with 1, 2, 3 elements. Is that right? Yes. Here's a container. 1, 2, 3. They're all kind of the same thing. They look like they're the same thing, and they're each taking up a third of the space. That makes sense, right? There's a container right below that with a divider. So all that container is a container with a divider, and that's it. That's it. The whole container is this skinny. It's just this tiny little thing in here because no one put anything inside of it except for a divider. And a divider tag is meant to be small like this, just a small divider. Okay? If you add stuff into that container, the container must expand to fill the space, right? To accept what you're adding. That's how come some of these containers are tall and other ones are shorter. And then other ones like this are really, really, really short. Right? And then there's, tall again, okay? And that's because containers expand to fill the size, okay? All right, and then you scroll down past that. What do we have? 1, 2, 3, and we get, column with a custom image and a divider. So you just learn what things are that way. This is apparently being called a column, and that's true. It's being called a column. Kind of means a column of print, okay? Here is a custom image, obviously, and then comes the banner slider, right? I think that's what was there. Or a divider. Yeah, whatever. I can go and look at this stuff all I want. And some dividers, they're lines, some are spaces, depends on what you want. Okay, now, I've made that point, and what else do I want to say? I want to talk real quick about sizing. See how it has a plus sign and a minus sign? You guys notice that about the elements? And yes, you can just control the size. You could say take up more of the space, take up more of the space, take up, the whole area. 1 out of 1 really means 12 columns, okay? You don't really need to know that, just kind of understand it. If I subtract it, it says 3/4. Well, that's 8 out of 12 columns. Just, so you know. Then if you subtract again, you get 2/3, 1/2, okay, 1/3, 1/4, 1/5, and 1/6, okay? Don't ask me what 1/5 is. And 1/6 would be, 2 columns out of 12, right? The point is you can control the sizes. And that's helpful too because sometimes you'll put an image in and it'll look too small, but you can expand just this, really, and then the image gets a lot more space and it gets what it needs to look good, that kind of thing. So anyway, there's that, all right? If I want to add another element, it'll try to fill in the gap unless I make it too big to fill in the gap. Just let me put one in. There's an accordion, okay? That allows me to put some drop downs, whatever. But let me expand it just to make this point. Let me say I wanted it to be bigger, and then boom, it's too big to fit up here, so it has to wrap down, okay? So that will leave a space, okay, no problem. It's just now the accordion is below and on the left, okay? Now, what if you wanted it down there, but you wanted it smaller? Because if you make it smaller, it pops up here. Well, we could add something else. We could add like a content block that we're just going to leave blank, So it's like content that we're just not going to put anything in, okay? And then we're going to shrink it down, and then we're going to stuff it up here, okay? And that flips the order around. See that? So we can do that. As a matter of fact, if I wanted my column bar, if I wanted the one at the top, if I want this scooted over more, okay, then I could put something else like an empty container in front of it, again like an empty content in front of it. Okay, so I could put another one. And yeah, you can duplicate. So you can duplicate any of these that you set up and move them where you want. Okay, I can make it smaller, you know. I make this one smaller, and then I can say flip it over this way, you know. And some of this, just play with it until you get it to look the way you want. Now I got this done maybe the way I want, right? Don't forget to hit save or you will not see any effects, right? This is all just consideration, okay? And then whap, okay? Boom, there you go. Now I can go and just see what I did, you know, and I can figure it out, okay? And you'll kind of learn really, really fast that way. And if you go, whoops, too squished, I need to make it bigger and I really don't like the accordion there, you can just hit edit to deal with it, okay? Just to remind you, right? Okay, let's say I just want to take the accordion out. Maybe that was a mistake. Yeah, I want to delete it. Boom. And then maybe this just needs to be bigger. So I'm going to make this one over here a little smaller. I'm going to make this one a little smaller. I'm going to make that one a little bigger. Do you see? Now it's still in the middle. Quarter over here, quarter over there, half over here. So now when I save, see? So you can increase size, decrease size, and what do you think that's going to affect more than anything? How many of you guys can think in terms of what that really affects that most guys have trouble with? The answer simply is going to be images, all right? So many people have not made their own templates more often than not because they're afraid of the images. Purely afraid of trying to resize an image. Do you think we resized that big image to fill this box? Heck no. As a matter of fact, what if I turn parallax on for that image? Let me just kind of go in there. Let me find it. Now, real quick, was that an element that we were on? Is this image part of an element or part of the container? Okay, for those who are wondering, right? If you don't know, I'm just curious, how many of you guys figured it out? Is it part of an element or part of the container? Okay, I can kind of hover over edit buttons just to sort of show you what they look like. But I got a question. Yep, you guys are getting it. Container it is. So if I want to find that, I can't hit an edit button for it. So if you cannot hit an edit button to get to the image, it is probably part of the container. Okay, so now if I go to edit the container, okay, I can kind of see some stuff. I could put verbiage in here and see what that does. Go ahead, play with it, see what you can do, because it's good for you. It's not going to hurt you any. You can do it. Here's a background color. If my image wasn't so big or if it was transparent or if I did not have an image, I could just use a background color. So then there'd be no image or be a background color. Where do you see that effect anyway? Right here. See this blue? It's a background color. There's no image. There's just a background color. Now, there is an image, really. It's just the arrow tip pointed down, but then the background color matches the arrow tip pointed down, right? Which you're either going to see that in the back end or just grab a color picker. Anyone never grab a color picker? Anyone always baffled to find out how somebody else could match a color perfectly right away? That's what a color picker does. I already know just by hovering the color picker over that color, it is 2187cc. So if I go in the back, then I can do it. Thomas, go in the back, then I can do a 20871cc or whatever it is for the background color, right? I can just choose any color, really. I can just pick any color I want, okay? And that would be the replacement for the image. Now, here's the image. Upload it. Now it says, do you want it to repeat? Well, okay, I don't need this one to repeat for any reason. It goes all the way across, right? There's no point in repeating it. How many guys are supposed to be mopping the floor? Thought we were in a recession. All right, now, should it be centered? Yeah, I mean, you've got choices here, okay? Repeat, don't repeat, repeat going across, or repeat going down, repeat going both ways. Okay, and it just depends on the image you have. Big image, small image, image that's meant to repeat or not. Do you want it centered, top, left, bottom? No. Right, left, bottom, whatever you want. Centers might be perfect. Okay, test options, see what it looks like. Here's another one. Background image size, auto or cover? Just usually auto. I'm not even sure what cover does. Got to go back and revisit that. Background image attachment position, do you want it to scroll or fixed? Well, if it scrolls, what do you think that means? That means when you do this, it scrolls with you. Okay. What if I said fixed? Well, I could make it fixed and just see what happens. Okay. By the way, here's parallax. How many of you guys have been just, mystified by how parallax works? It's a switch you flip on or off. But usually you choose either scroll with parallax like this, or you choose fixed without parallax. It's kind of weird to add both. It can be. Okay. And then should the container width be, inside the container full width, whatever. Well, inside container full width. Usually it doesn't make any difference. Just choose, take a look. All right. Having said that, remember to hit save. Remember to hit save. All right. Come back around and take a look again. Okay. So now if I scroll this, see that? See how the image didn't go anywhere? It just stayed still. Okay. Everything else will move down, whatever, no problem. That's called fixed, right? You can tell because it's fixed. It doesn't move at all. Okay. And it leaves some white, so I don't like the effect as much. So I don't want that. We could try parallax just for the fun of it and see what that looks like. And so if you want to use something like, parallax on an image, it's best if your image is big, right? So that, the block is small, you don't have a lot of stuff in it, the image is much bigger, okay? So that there's room for that. All right, so let me put that back on scroll, but stick that on parallax. Save that. Okay, just kind of showing you, how options go, because the more you play with this, the more you're going to see. We will have training videos over everything, like literally every element. I will record a separate topic on every single element, okay? And you'll just understand them better. Now, see that? There's your parallax for you. They both roll up, but at different speeds, okay? All right. Now, it doesn't give the best effect necessarily because it's not that tall a picture, right? If it was taller, I wouldn't have all this white space to deal with, right? Parallax has got to give room for that. Okay, I don't want that, and so I might just flip it off, right? There you have it. So this is the way that kind of a thing is done. Where am I at? All right, never mind. Let me continue. I want to make some other points. Here's something that's extremely important. As a matter of fact, let me flip to another template for the fun of it. Okay, here we go. I'm just going to activate another one. Okay, let's do like Dennis. Okay. Now, you see what happens? The one you activate flips. Now it says customize if you want to customize it. The other ones you could activate. See how it's been flipped off? Okay. Now, you could delete. These would delete. All right, the whole template, and you'd have to start over again. We'll have some way of resetting a factory reset. There will be a button for that. We should not put it right next to the delete button. You probably shouldn't put the delete button next to any other button either. But whatever, we'll figure it out. All right, produce exporters, this other blue, if you're wondering what that's for, that's more for the theme font and colors and some other basics. Like you can go in here, set the settings, okay, and theme font and style. Now, I spent a lot of time describing containers and elements and just kind of playing with them and showing you how to move them. By the way, how far can you go with that? The answer is you can go absolutely crazy with it. Let me get back and show you what I mean. Show off, okay? Let me come back to this since I've been playing with it. Customize. I want to make this point real fast. Then I'll point out what's up with the other theme. Can you rearrange whole containers? Yes. You can, the entire container. So if you want to create various websites where you want to create variability in the website look, you just don't want everything to be in the same place. You don't need everything to be in the same place. If these are interchangeable in any combination, this is like 1, 2, 3, if I want to go 3, 1, 2, I might just pull this up and then pull it up one more time, okay, and save it. Now, if I want to move an element clean to another container because it gives a better effect, you can do it. You can just bring it in, move it around. If you want to put it back at the top or something, you can minimize it, drop down the size, whatever it is that makes sense depending on the particular item you're working with. Do you see? You can absolutely change them. Do I want to create a duplicate and stick it somewhere else? Image slider. but I want to put that image slider like way down here in some other container. I want to repeat it down below. Then yeah, you can do that. Okay, there's that. So as far as taking these entire websites with all these sections that are so cool and yet look so complex, the answer is you can duplicate them and then edit each of them separately. You can move around the items, flip them left, right, center, whatever combination you want. You can go in any order. Add your elements, change your color themes, website themes. Where do you change like the whole overall color theme, like a blue like this? You change it by going into font and style. Okay, look at that. There's your blue. We could do something else, you know, a whole different website look, because maybe we're not doing janitorial anything. We're going to do just, I don't know what, some other business, and we want some completely different effect. Okay, then you can do that. You can change the colors, change the default text color, change the form settings for when you build your own forms. By the way, remember how in T2H you had a simple form, name, email, phone, whatever. Well, here you can build forms and you can decide what goes in it, okay? And you can attach them as forms. There is a form element. Let me point that out. If I come in here just and look, okay, if you hit add element, one of them is called form, okay? That is exactly so you can select a form from your form list. If I add a form, okay, and I edit it, it'll ask me which form do you want? Okay, I want one of the forms I created in my build form list over here, okay, because you got a running log and they pop up in here, okay? And if you don't have one, you can just stick with the default settings. I want the form, email, phone, and submit button right here. You can flip it on or off and just hit save, okay? Literally like that, save. And there's, you know, with the forms, of course, you got more control. But if I flip it over, wherever I put that, here's my form. It just popped up in here. I should put a background color in here or move it to a different container to make it make more sense. But there you have it. I mean, creating forms, you can, at this point, you can put forms anywhere you want. Now that form doesn't look good, but I could do another one, you know, edit that. And I could just have the form be something like, whatever, contact us now, you know, save that. If you're curious how that might go, whoops, let me just hit this thing to open up a new page, okay? That gets a little wild. And again, what makes it so big? The fact that I set it to be that big because I didn't shorten it. Look at this. Okay, let me save it. Okay, so a form that looks weird does not have to look weird. You can completely make it not look weird. You can make it look completely normal and decide if it goes here or here or here by putting other empty content, like empty content. Let me duplicate this one. See that? It moved the form over now, didn't it? Okay, and just to give it more room and scoot it over. Okay, again, I got to go back and play with these to get them the way I want. But it's just playing with the arrange. Oh, that's how. One of these contents went way over there. I got it now. Okay. There we go. And you'll just get it arranged. Now, where did I even come up with the idea of this form? Who thought up the coloring and everything? The answer is on the build forms, you get to decide that. You can show all your forms and see what they are. You can go into one of them that you had, like contact us now, and you can literally start to edit every little thing about it. You can edit the text, you can put in checkboxes, date, time, a link to a website, a button like submit, right? A number, email, drop down, multiple choice, paragraph, and you can edit these things to say what you want. You can click on one to edit it, change the name. If you want, put some extra verbiage in there, decide whether it's large, medium, or small, okay? And any minimum, maximum length to the characters or the words. And just save the changes, okay? If you want to get rid of something because you're not going to use it, like the phone, just hit the minus sign to delete the phone, okay? That way you got name, email, message, right? Your call me back, you maybe don't want it to say call me back. You want it to say join now. So there you go. I just clicked it to edit it. Join now, right? Get the free whatever, free whatchamacallit, right? And just simply save your form, you know, And then you can go through and make any updates down here you want and hit submit. And it becomes one of the forms you get to choose from your whole form list, right? Is that kind of cool? Yeah, I do believe you're completely able to change the button. If not, you will be. One of the coolest things, let me give you this. This is interesting. For all you guys that have feedback, questions, or anything else, that's what the support button is for. Put in your email, put in your message, and send it. Now that sounds nice, right? Let me tell you where this is going. We got guys buying professional runs right now for their own businesses, their own projects they're working on, and we are designing their theme that isn't like really available to you guys, their theme, right? I can take this thing out, obviously, but we're designing theirs for them. Now, here's a point I want to make. Some of these guys are literally into either MLM or they just want to make it possible for refers to resell or affiliates to join, which is coming. So one of the things that's important, and we feel that this is extremely important and no one seems to offer it. We think it's a really worthwhile thing to offer. Everybody basically wants to own the thing, own anything that they have, right? Everybody wants to own it. So this will be white labeled. Okay, you're going to be able to go in your profile and not use our picture, but your own picture. Okay, it'll be a choice up in here so you can choose it. It won't say copyright theme to HTML at the bottom, theme2html.com. This will be you, copyright you. Now, that could be you, the CMS store. That could be you, the website developer, or it could simply be you, the super affiliate of whatever this program is, either your own group that belongs to some other program, and you're just going under your own label, your own name, to say we're the power group of choice, okay, or whatever, or just their name really, because they're letting you use their information as you make your sites to sell their stuff, okay. Now what's cool about all that? There is going to be soon an affiliate system on this where you can export sites for them, and they will have the option to be able to buy a panel in it if they want. And guess what? Here's the point too. Even if you're selling it like it's your own CMS store, like you invented it, like it's your own stuff, okay? Your own competitor of WordPress and Joomla and Weebly and everything, Drupal, okay? And you have no idea what theme to HTML is, never heard of it before. You know, you don't need to say, well, have no idea what theme to HTML is, never heard of it before. But exactly that's what I mean, that it doesn't have to be us at all. It will still have a support button. When people submit this, it responds with a system that we have that is completely white labeled and separate, and it's a support system. It's actually called something else. You'll see it when it's attached. And it's simply a support system. It's like that's the support system you commission for your program or your downline or your CMS store or whatever it is. For people who have questions about can I fix this, or how do I apply the custom class, or is there any change, blah, 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 where we can actually deal with it or respond to you. And so there are going to be people who are going to literally be answering support, okay, and this already exists, right? And they are going to be able to answer you and help you with all of your questions in the panel, okay, without you ever knowing who they were. They just act like they're part of your program by just being the support desk for what looks like your program. It just happens to be it's the support desk for everyone's program, you know, but that's it. And so that's kind of cool. In other words, not only do you sell the websites, but you can sell them with the MM panels. They can be for any business. And you have a support system. Now, we're not handling support for your business question. You can say, this is technical support. As a matter of fact, we'll make it possible to rename this because, again, that's easy. We can do that. And you can call it what you want, like technical support, you know. And then anything else you want in the back panel could be a note about, hey, call us with questions, or here's where you ask your questions, whatever. That could be in the back end. It can be in the front end. But the idea is this is easy enough to deal with, okay? So that's kind of cool. And so for those of you looking at doing things with affiliates or referral codes so that you can just hand out coupon codes to people, So they don't even have to join your program. You just know who they are and assign a coupon code to them in your system. All the sales that use the coupon code, you just know it's sales from them, okay? Which, by the way, already exists. The affiliate system already exists. The coupon system already exists. And so we're just going to attach it when we're done with what we're doing now. It's on the list. It's one of the upcoming things to happen, okay? All right, here, let me erase some mystery because this is a big deal. I want to make sure to cover this before I forget. If you go into any one of these, okay, let me just activate this one again because I think maybe this will be a better example. All right, whatever. You see, I see two. I was kind of looking for one that had more. Activate. Let me just see if one of these has more. I always forget. There's just one that's not going to do. Let's activate that. I think that's just two, and then this I believe only has two. Let's see. Oh, that has three. Okay. All right. Here's going to be the thing that confuses people the most on these themes. I want to make sure I clear this up. Okay. You scroll down, you see everything I'm in. Have fun playing with these sliders, making things pop in. Okay. And just see what the different effects are like, because you can do it with everything. Google Maps, support forms, your forms. You can make your forms flip into the page or glide onto the page or fade up and into the page. You can do it with anything. It can be the header. It can be the item. It can be the Google Map. It can be, a logo that you had in the center. Anything you can edit, basically, can flip into the page, right? That's what I mean by total control over design, all right? And the way it's responsive. All right, here's, though, the point I want to make before I forget, and that's this. So far, here's what we're getting used to. We go into a template, and we go, okay, I get it. Here's my container, and it's got its elements, container elements. I'm staring at it, not this one. That one. I'm staring at it, okay? And so people say this, doesn't that make this the front page of the website? Mobile template, the front page of the website. The answer is no, it does not. And to help explain, let me step back and say, these are not pages. These are just names that we gave to copies that we created and modified. You can copy one if you want, and then you can rename it and modify it. Dave, testing, away. All right. Save it. Now it exists. If I go back here, I see it in my list. I can edit it or delete it or duplicate it. Why do we create different templates? Because wonderfully, we want that kind of control over pages. So if we have a front page, we want it maybe to have this huge banner here and act a certain way when you go down. But we don't want the huge banner and everything on every single page, right? It's great for intro, but it's in the way when people definitely want to read more. They have to scroll past it all the time on your other pages. So you know what? If we had a different page like About Us, Contact Us, Features and Benefits, our blog, anything else, we might want that page to have different things happening on it. And we could go a little different or a lot different. We could go completely different if we really wanted to. The point is, we might say we want a certain look for our About Us page. Maybe it's got the Google Map glides in, okay? And the information contact just appears, and we want those elements on that template that we attach to that page called About Us. See, that's what I want to make clear. And then we could have another one called Contact Us. So we could have a template we use for the main page, but then we want a different one for the Contact Us page. We might want a different one for the About Us page. And then this is just a catch-all for every other kind of page that we ever create. How does it work then? Okay, these are templates. They're not pages, like I said. It works like this. If you look at this, this is the front page. That means it is index.html. Okay, that's the page. But index.html, that's the name of the page. It is not the name of the template in any way. There is no index.html in this whole assortment. These are templates we can pick from, pick and choose for our pages right down here. Got it? Pages. So if I show all on the pages, I get to see my pages. Now, okay, maybe I want another page So watch this. I'm going to create another page. I'm just going to duplicate this and make sure I get the right one. Sometimes you click and it flips over. Yeah, okay. Let me do it then. Okay. And I'm going to say this is about us, right? I'm going to make it about.html instead of index.html. All right. The home page is default. You cannot avoid it. You cannot delete it. You can't get rid of it. It has to be there, right? Now, our About Us page. I might want to put some content up in this thing, okay? Having trouble clicking in here right now, and it might very well just be go to meeting. I'll double check later. Or go into the source code. Oh, okay, it's got some source code in there anyway. But whatever. All right, here's the thing I do want to say about it. I don't know, I can't click in there, of course, unless, I am clicked in there. Ha! What I can't see is the cursor blinks sometimes when it's resonating with the GoToMeeting recording rate. All right, so this is us, about us, right? Been around a while, etc., etc. Okay, that's the page. So I'll just make this like really big or something, Maybe I'll do format heading 1, and maybe I'll do some kind of background color for the fun of it. I'll just do some local fixes right here, okay? Instead of going all the way into, font and colors, I'm just gonna do it right here. I can change the SEO fields, yeah? Hey, this is the main page, okay? And that way you can see it when we come up, okay? I can put whatever I want. Now, here's the thing. When we do this, okay, it's going to ask what template we want the page to relate to. Aha, so there's a connection. You choose the template you want the page to display with. Remember, like I said, the templates are like your smorgasbord, your buffet of designs for each page you create. Okay, do you get that? And now this could be my whatever Dave testing away page, if I want. So we can be using a different template for the About Us, which is different than the main page. See, it can be my Dave testing away page. And again, I can decide, is it a normal page with a menu link, or is it a page without a menu link, or is it an external page link like to a blog, in which case the template's not really going to matter anyway because it's going to be an external page link. It's going to leave the website. But normally it's going to be a page with a menu link unless you're deeper into the site. You might have a page without a menu link. Either way, it still needs to have a template attached to it for styling purposes. Get it? All right, page with a menu link. Let's just see, And then does it have any modules or whatever? Okay, we'll deal with that later. All right. And then the parent page can be like the root page, home, or whatever it is. Okay, update. Okay, now I have an About Us page. How's that look? Well, I don't see anything up here yet, but let me refresh. Now I have an About Us page. And when I flip, okay, so far, there it is. And it's just, oh yeah, here's the other part I got to point out. You're going to understand it because we haven't done it yet. So far I've said the page is attached to this template. What's the other part of the equation though? The other part of the equation is, where do I want the page content to go? Does it go above this image? Does it go right below the image? Or does it go below this line? Or does it go below that line? Where do I want it to go? So guess what you might click on when you think about it, and you'll get it right away. Let me get back in there. Customize. Okay. Dave testing away. There has to be such a thing as an element that goes inside a container which relates to the page content. Okay. So if you choose About Us, it's going to do the Dave testing away, but where should that design be? I might have to think about that. Okay. Well, let me just put it somewhere for the fun of it. Let me go add element, and guess what it's called? It's just called content. If I put in content, plain and simple content, okay, default is all the way across. If I hit edit, it's going to say this element displays the content of your core editor. Guess what? That just happens to mean that this is where we're going to put the page content on this page. Okay. Save. So now if I flip back and I take a look at my About Us page, there it is. It's right where I said I wanted it. Now maybe I decide I don't want the stuff above it, Oh, well, that's fine. I can go get rid of it. I can even start at the bottom one here, you know, and just see where it's at. There it is. Close. I might say get rid of that. Yes. Get rid of this. Yep. Get rid of that. Yep. I might even say, and I can check to see if this is the one that had the banner. It's not. It's like it's got a different color. But this other one up here, aha, that's the one with the image. By the way, you got your media library in here. And there's more options in this media library than we've even explained yet. For any image, you can hit show to see the details on it. Okay. When you do, it gives you a lot of information about it, you know, the file name. It also says basically how big it is, so you get an idea how big the real big version of the image is, right? There are things you can do when you edit. You can change the title, the alternate text, the caption, description. So you got all more SEO than you need. You can have it linked somewhere, okay? And here's the file URL, okay? And you can insert it to get the image inserted. And somebody said, hey, I tried this before and the image doesn't always insert properly. That's true. Some of the things it didn't. So just hard copy the file URL if that's true. Just hard copy it. Copy. Okay. Just close out of here. And what you can do is just replace the background image file with that one. Just paste it in here. Okay. And that would be the one that it's going to use when you hit save and then save, right? Don't forget, both saves are necessary to change the page, right? Well, here, and again, we can do parallax and scroller fixed and all this other stuff as well. Again, these things are going to really quickly become second nature. It's like getting used to Photoshop. First you learn the brush, then you learn the eraser, then you realize you can use the brush and the eraser in combinations that are interesting, and so on, you know. Now, oh, where was I going with all this? Oh, I know where I was going. I was saying now that I identified that that's the container with a picture, I want to get rid of it. I don't want it on my Dave Testing Away template because it's too big. So I'm just going to get rid of everything basically out of it. Okay. Oh, and because it's the first template, I can't really get rid of it, but I can take the picture out. I can move the content up. That's the content. I can get rid of this other container because I don't need it anymore. Doesn't have anything in it maybe, let's say. You know, you might keep it for something it does, like the background image. You might just keep it purely for the background image. I'm going to get rid of the background image, and then I might play with the color later to see what that looks like. Okay, let me save those changes. Okay, and that, when we refresh, explains what's happening here, right? Now, obviously, there's a lot more I should be doing with this anyway, you know, just to make this the kind of page I want it to be. You know, put something else in the way, too, to scoot it over. But there you have it. What I mean is the main page uses one template design, whereas you can choose a different template to apply to a different page and whatever it is you want to do with that. Okay. All right, so it's important to understand those elements, right? One of the best way to learn what these elements do is go look at other elements that already exist and just match them, match the back end to the front end. Like I said, we're going to put videos out for all of them. As a matter of fact, when you click on something like this and scroll to the bottom, oh, not the container, sorry, an element, it's got a watch tutorial link. We're going to have a tutorial for each and every one of the elements that's separate from each other, right? So you're going to be able to hit it, and there will be a video for that particular thing here, okay? So anyone will be able to know what they can do with each of these things. They'll be taught one at a time, okay? All right. Let me see. The last thing I want to point out, because it's also very important or you just wouldn't know better, is this. If I go to customize and look at one of these, another kind of element that you can match to the front and get a clue about is this sort of thing that says product, okay? And if you look, there are many of these. There's news, there's product, a bunch of these different ones kind of act the same way. There's image slider. And what I mean is when you hit it and you open it, here's the thing. The image slider lets you put in the images and add the images individually, so that's easy to understand. As a matter of fact, let me get rid of that one. But one that would be a little harder to understand might be something like the product. You know, edit it, and it'll say, what is the product choice? Select the category for me. And you're like, okay, well, I guess this one's HTC. You got to say, how many products do you want to show up? 3, 4, 5, something like that. You can save it. Okay. And you can have it animated, like so many animation choices for every element, right? All of the elements. Okay. Here's the point. Where do those categories come from? The answer is that's what a lot of these are down here. They let you organize things. Services slider, we can show all. Okay. There's a bunch of different kinds of services sliders attached, and they're in a category called BX slider in this case, right? Manage your category. Can you add a new category? Yes. And then can you add new banner sliders and put them in the category of choice? Yes. Put in whatever quote unquote the company name is, the URL, and the link to the image. By the way, here's a cool thing when you upload images now. It says drag one or more files into the square. If you drag 25 images, if you highlight them on your desktop and drag them in here and let go, it'll suddenly upload all 25 at once and then compress them to sensible sizes. Okay? And so there you go. It actually does it all in one fell step. This is like doing the bulk image upload. Now, one thing we do want to do is create groups in the media library so that you can easily assign a group to a stack of images so that it's not just like this. But that's an easy upgrade. It will come, and it will come soon. Then as far as organizing these into groups, it'll be very easy to do. And mass delete will be easy to do. But if you look at these, you'll understand how they work. There's a testimonial. It says show all, add testimonial, and then manage category. Again, manage category, create a new category, enable a category, disable a category. And that's really all there is to the category. Save it, just the name. But then when you show all, okay, here's a testimonial, and you can choose what category to put them in. So you just click on one. What's it supposed to say? What category does it go in? What's the company name, the image, the whatever, and update. See? And same thing with everything else. There's products. You can manage the categories for products, and you see all the categories for the different kinds of mobile phones, and then other categories for, well, other templates. And you can add stuff to each of these categories, right? Products. You can add a product to a category. Here's the name, any kind of a description, choose the category it goes in, URL, price, etc., and have it go to its own page or whatever. And products operate nicely that way. When you start adding them, you'll see. Partners, manage category. And again, you've got different things. You can use them however you want. Show all the partners. Okay. And in this case, partners, by that we just mean accolades that go at the bottom, or wherever you want. Okay. And team, right, for team members, show all and so on. Okay. And then you can add and edit your team members. Here's a cool advantage too. External, outbound external links are a big deal, right? Well, guess what? In these, you can actually decide if, you're going to put some name for a team member. You can put down a blurb about that team member. This can be people on your team or whatever. And of course, you can change the styling and everything. Of course, you can make this look just the way you want. Not only that, you can give them a position, manager, accounting officer, who knows, chief marketing expert, whatever it is you want, a fitness trainer, a dentist on your dental team, whatever it is. Add your images and everything. But then you can also put in links to their social media. Now, for guys who know anything about like fitness gyms, the people who run in to be the fitness trainers and run out, they kind of bring a lot of their people with them, right? Because the people really like a certain fitness trainer and pay that fitness trainer because there's just a lot of rapport there. Okay, so a fitness trainer needs to be able to rush in, and it's nice if you're running a gym to offer them the option of connecting them up so that when you have them on the team on the front page, matter of fact, let me just flip to another theme real quick that does do this, show all, activate. Just go back and hit, boom, should do it. All right, here we go. All right. I mean, I'm not using it in quite the right way because this is all dental, okay, banner slider. But take a look. Jenny Doe, there she is, okay. She could be a fitness trainer. This could be a gym website, and this could be a fitness trainer. This could be the link to Jenny Doe's Facebook, Google+, Twitter, LinkedIn. And then you get your other fitness trainer, Facebook, Google+, Twitter, LinkedIn. By the way, if you don't fill in the blanks, the icons just won't show up. Isn't that beautiful? The rest will center themselves just however way they should. Okay? Same thing with this. Same thing with this. What's the whole point? Look at all the external authority links you have to other very popular pages that are getting a lot of hits, you know, assuming that. Okay? Look at that. That's 4, 8, 12, and 16 right there. By the way, does it have to be 4? No, not at all. This whole block is going to ask you, okay, what is the count? Maybe the count's 3. Okay, save. Save. Let me just show you what that would do. Okay, so you can see it. Oops. Let me go back, hit that. We'll open it up. We'll get used to all these tabs. Look at that. 3. Whoops. And they're even bigger now because they can. So they'll fit the space that well. So, you know, this is a case where bigger images are cool because they can auto-resize themselves down to suit. You know, they can fill the gap in their own way. All right. But there you go. So you can still have all your stuff, but it's only 3. Can you go 5? Yeah, if you have 5 people, you know, you can go 5. Okay. So this stuff is really cool. And you can still just decide everything you want to do. You can put links anywhere. I can highlight this and put a link there that goes to the opportunity page or who knows what. Okay. I can close with anything I want. I can throw in accolades or whatever, and I can move all of these containers around in any single order. Okay. This whole orange box could be near the top of the page. Okay. This batch of imagery could be above this batch of items. You know, it's all completely and easily controllable. So if you're confused as to how you add those, here, let me just kind of shut some of these for the fun of it, just to get sort of back to where we were. How do you think they're added? Well, the elements. Whoops. Again, you can study the elements and you'll understand what they are. Like one of them is called partner carousel. Okay, partner carousel. All right. Again, how big do you want it to be on the page? You can have it take up less of the page so that the images don't get so huge. If you only have like 2 images or 3 and they're big, if they look fuzzy, then just make it smaller. Then add, you know, a content one, make it a lot smaller, like a third. Whoops, wherever I went. Okay. And then put it first to move the partner carousel over if that's what you want to do. Don't forget to hit save at the bottom when you're done. But the point is, when I go to my partner carousel, guess what it says up here? Select category. I could go exporters, mobile, nice cleaning, WMS, whatever one of those team categories I have, because partner carousel really is talking about the team category. Okay, Dennis, right? I can get rid of the category I don't want and put in a new category. Who knows what? I guess nice cleaning. Okay, and I can decide how big that should be, and I can decide the total number of logos to show. I can decide whether they should show up randomly or in a certain order. Okay, isn't that nuts? And I can decide if the whole thing should flip into the page a certain way. Okay, when you first scroll down to that part of the page. Isn't that nuts? All right. I have kept you guys here for an hour and a half, so I'm going to stop right now. I want to do Q&A. So what I'm going to do is say, let's take a 5-minute break because I think you guys are going a little nuts. And first of all, just real quick, are you finding this interesting? I'm just asking. I mean, I've kept you guys up an hour and a half just kind of going through this stuff. Do you like this? Is this the kind of thing that's interesting to you? No? Starting to get results? Just making sure. That's cool because you can sell a version of any of these for $5,000 or $8,000. And if you put that price tag on, not even knowing how you're going to get the right images yet, who cares? You can either go get the right images or ask us in support, and we'll tell you if you want us to do it for you or do a certain thing. Maybe you don't want us to do a whole job, but you want us to do a certain thing. Hey, Dave, attach this contact form to something. Okay, that's a job. We can figure out how much we should cost, and we'll just charge you something token for it. It might be like $50 to attach it to something you need. Just like a minimum cost for doing something you need. And then guess what? You can go look in your element and see how it's done. You'll never be confused again. Okay. You might say, hey, I need a stack of images for a certain topic. How much? Okay. Might be 80. Who knows? And we'll get you the stack you want or more than you need, and you'll be happy with them. We'll get you the royalty-free images, or we'll just show you how to get some basic images. By the way, Google Images. You will find images of all these sizes, and it doesn't just have to be images. We've been talking about images all this time. There is no reason in the world that you can't use a rolling video up in here. Your media library holds more than images. You can put a rolling video in here. And for everyone who thought, wow, rolling video, are there such things? The answer is, of course there are. There are websites with a whole stack of rolling videos about all these different kinds of topics. Go do a Google search for rolling videos, or rolling images, or whatever it is. Rolling, I don't know what they call them. Rolling video anyway. There's synonyms. And you're going to find sites you can sign up to, and you can buy them. Royalty-free rolling images that just show a cool little scene. What's an example of a cool little scene, a rolling image, just in case you don't know? When you go to PayPal, see this? This is a rolling image. This is it. These are things you can buy. So what happens when you're building a website like this for a client, okay? And just literally it looks like this. And the client is freaking out, completely happy with it, and the thing is error code free, okay? Google's going to love it. They're going to love it. You're going to love it. And as far as just making it happen, sell it first, ask how to do it later. Who cares? The fact of the matter is we can make a website do pretty much anything. It is so easy to recreate this inside of T2H2 if you have that as a goal. Okay, it is really easy to do. Okay, just so you know. We haven't done this kind of login feature yet, but it will come. Some of the things we're going to create, it's going to be a full-scale gallery for guys who do photography, guys who do restaurants. They need to really zoom in the quality of the imagery, the pizza or the other foodstuffs, anything that needs to be really nice like that. There's going to be that. That's one of the items coming up. Another one is going to be a shopping cart so that you can just put up your own stuff for sale in your own site that has your own affiliate backend and your own coupon code backend. Okay, so you can be the super affiliate of anything, and you can have 1,000 member downline or 10,000 member downline who are all joining and automatically getting assigned their subdomains on your site. That kind of thing is coming pretty soon, within a couple of weeks, say 2-3 weeks. Okay, it'll be there. And it's all something, and the white labeling will come out basically at the same time because it's sort of a package. And that way, you can put out anything you want. You can say, hi, we're website designers. You can say, hi, we've got a CMS that's awesome. You can say, hi, we're, I don't know, Empower Network Group number 324, and we're awesome. And this is our whole design and action and ability. And all we are is this. That's all we do. Join our group and you'll get a copy of our website and blah, blah, bitty, blah, an affiliate link for our website, which as you can see looks way, way better than the company website. And we have all these other things we can do for you. And for those of you that want to upgrade past the free, you don't just want to get the copy, but you want to get an admin panel on it so that you can also, do your own stuff with it. You can pay a certain price to get that. And when you log in, you'll see either our videos, and as a matter of fact, that's a reminder because I got to put that on my list. I'm going to try to keep my videos, as a matter of fact, the videos on the inside need to be white labeled. So if I'm putting out videos and I'm forgetting that they kind of need to be white labeled, or you're hearing me say, hi, this is Dave from Theme2HTML, remind me. Say, Dave, videos on the inside of T2H2 back panel. I'm not trying to be a dick or nothing, but don't point out who you are, Just remind me, okay? I'll make sure it comes out right because that is the intention. The intention is that it's white labeled so you can use it in your own way. And you're going to be able to say it's got a support system in the back end. If you find you can't do something, ask, and that becomes on our shoulders. If somebody goes, hey, I can't get this form to work. We might be in the back end going, okay, well, we can do it, but it will be $50 or 25. We may just be doing it, or you can figure out how to do it that way, you know. I don't know. I mean, we got to just figure out how all that works at some point. Is it possible that the support button can go to you instead of us? Yeah, there's no reason why not. It just takes workload off our shoulders anyway for general questions. Okay, so that kind of thing is easy. All right, let's take the quick 5-minute break here real quick, just kind of like drain your head, you know, 9:45, or think about what you want to do with something like this. Think of what your questions are, okay? We're really taking this as far as we know anyone taking a CMS platform. Somebody said, how would you compare it to WordPress? I'd say this. You know how WordPress is entirely glitchy and it's free? Yes, it's free and glitchy. Wouldn't you be willing to pay for a premium version of WordPress that costs a little bit as long as it wasn't glitchy? Oh, heck yeah, I'd be way willing to pay for a version of WordPress that they go updating and they take care of all the glitches and my add-ons don't crash and everything keeps on working just fine. Okay, that's what we did. Then the next question would be, and wouldn't it be great if that existed, the premium WordPress option for money that was glitch-free and the thing doesn't exist? But if it did, wouldn't it be great if it had an affiliate system attached to it and you could make money offering that to people and pointing out how it's cool that it's glitch-free? Oh, heck yeah, right? It's like that would be a godsend. All right, I don't know why they don't do it, but they don't, and we're doing it. And I know why we're doing it, because that's awesome. And then the final question to that would be, and what if you didn't have to call it WordPress unless you wanted to? What if you could just say it's your own and you're running it and it's got all these support videos by your team and it's got support people who are there to help you and it was all done, you know, and it's all good to go. You know what? People are in, right? And then they could get the upgrade, and that gives them the admin panel. It can even give them the affiliate system if you want, or if that makes sense, because we can make that available, and you can either present that or not present that, depending on your needs, because some people are going to want to make that available to their guys so that they can sell the whole kit and caboodle. Other people don't want their people to know they can create their own affiliate downlines with their own affiliate system. They just want them to plug into theirs. Okay? But they do want them to have an admin panel. That just means these are parcels that are made available or not available, depending on whether you know where to go to buy them. And you guys know where to go, because you're talking to me knowing that this is all themed to HTML2, right? So you know what this is. But when you go run off, then the people you talk to don't need to know what this is. And it's up to you what you want to offer them. Isn't that wild? Okay. All right, let's take our break. I keep saying we're going to take a break, and then we don't. Okay, I'm going to hit stop recording, so please remind me to start recording again. Take a break, walk away, we'll clean up, and let's say like 9:46 or so. It'll be my time, not sure yours, but 46 or so, 46, 47. We'll come back, sit down, and go through your questions and answers. So you can just type away into that questions box anything you want to ask, and that'll be it for tonight. Most of you guys are still here, so I think it's still quite interesting to you, and that's good. Can't wait to answer your questions. Let's take 5. See you back here in a minute. Wow, 5 or 6. Okay. All right, I'm back. Sorry about that, guys. My wife and kids are chatting with me. So here we go. All right. Oh, that's pretty good, by the way. I just noticed that Thomas Smart was making a point here. Check this one out. First of all, can you guys hear me? And I am recording again. Just making sure, you know. Okay, so far so good. Thank you about the record. Okay, so check this out. Thomas Martin, I'll give him credit. He's cool for popping up with stuff. So he says videoblocks.com as an example for anyone who wondered. And yes, Todd, this helps answer your question too, because yes, you can put rolling videos into the sites. We'd be nuts not to allow that effect, right? So how do you search this thing? Thomas, maybe I'll just let you chat if you want. Don't know if you have a headset or anything. You can make some notes about this. Just curious. Hey, so I did put you on if you feel like saying something about it. Like search for videos, right? And up to 140 downloads during your free trial? Oh, wow. Oh, okay, no mic. So apparently this is like 100, what'd you say, 100 bucks? What'd you say, 100 bucks a year? You did, didn't you? All right. And you can look for videos and stuff, videos and backgrounds and so on, and just straight download them, okay? And yeah, there's like, oh, I don't know, motion backgrounds or whatever else. I'm sure if you just look, you'll see what they have like this. This is something you could download, you know? And it wouldn't have the ad block thing in the middle. It's just there, obviously, as a watermark. So there's scenes, you know, if you want nature scenes or whatever. I'm just kind of, you know, looking to see what you can see. And you can get it really, really big. See, this is just a preview in this window. This is 1920 by 1080. This is full screen, okay? You know, and then, of course, if you just fit it inside the container instead of full width, that's a choice. Do you want it to be full width of the page or fit inside the container per se? And so, because most of these containers only go a certain distance, but full width literally goes left to right, okay? Then you can choose, all right? And there are a lot of options. There are probably a number with people too, right? I'm just, you know, looking at a few here. There's got to be, yeah, well, okay. There's After Effects. I gotta look up the titles and figure out what I'm talking about as well. But oddball things. Oh, you could get your text in some of these. It'd be awesome, man. Look at that. Just the idea of being able to choose what you want to make your site look really hot, okay? And a lot of these images don't have to fit anything. You'd think, what am I selling with this image? Freedom, travel, anything like that will work. Remember the image on PayPal? Some lady standing in some room, whatever, typing on her phone. That could be anything, right? Just about anything. And then what? Todd just said pond5.com. So if we just look over there, right? This is another example. I mean, the resources are basically endless. Go look. Who knows what they're costing? Who knows what they're offering? But there are a ton of options. Look at that. Look at this right here. You know, what if you got one of those and stuck it on your site? And it had just something even remotely related to what you're doing, right? Then there you go. Okay. New York City in 1 minute reel, wintry beauty, puppy pictures, birthday, whatever. It's good. Maybe it's cold outside. Sell that for your wine site or whatever you want. So there you go. There's tons of options. And of course, you're going to be able to put them into the site. So it would be completely wrong for us not to allow that. Look at that. Isn't that cool? All right. And that, I mean, you want to do your travel? Think about the travel site with that, you know. All right. Okay, having said all that, let me go ahead and kind of get back. Okay, plus, just want to put this up so you guys kind of remember, plus.theme2html.com. That's where it all starts anyway. Let me see. I'm going to go ahead and answer Q&A, and then we're going to call it quits. Okay, so just for the fun of it, not too many things, which is pretty cool. I think most of you guys get it. All right, let me see. We got Todd here. Okay. So with our purchase, do we get an MM panel, but do we need a license like T2H? Yes. And you know why? Because in this case, you might get a lot of licenses just for different websites or to put in different places, exactly so you can decide what themes you're adding to each of them. So we just made it possible to do a lot more in terms of expansion. We want you guys to think about multiple themes for multiple purposes, because really you are at a point where there is nothing left for anyone to make an objection about. If you sell websites like these, perfect coding, no errors, it'll pass validator checks with flying colors, okay? And if you're selling that with an MM panel or without, just depending on the price they want to pay, I mean, that's just up to them whether they want to go with the MM panel or not. And you're offering something like the affiliate system or not, that's, I mean, I don't see why not. That's going to be something we're going to make available as an option that all of you guys could resell, because why not? It makes sense, okay? And all the other features that are coming alive, of course, are going to be part and parcel to these things anyway. Gallery, shopping cart. We may have prices on each item, we might not. But even if we did, there's going to be bigger packages with certain prices that include it all. There's got to be the incentive for all the development, of course. And there's got to be the funding to fund it. This is a lot of programming to come out with this stuff and do it the way you want. You know, white labeling especially, and running the support crew behind the scenes. But there's no objection anymore. You can sell a T2H website, and you can sell it their way, and you can sell it basically for whatever you want. You're pricing for your own labor mostly. I mean, paying $250 for a panel is nothing. It's spit. Paying $1,250 or $1,950 for a website is spit. Anyone not know that? You know, and why? Because if you are doing the website the way they want it done, okay, you're not just selling them a template, but you're helping them fit in all their content. You're helping them arrange all their images. You're going through details with them. Then the perceived value, let alone the real value, is the recognition that many, many man hours are going into the project. If your time is worth $100 an hour, by the way, who knows? Can you guys say that one real quick? Who knows what you're supposed to quote yourself for if you are a website guy selling websites and you were quoting by the hour work? And I mean literally, what do website designers quote by the hour? You know, just so you know. There's like bell curves. Go look them up. Yeah, exactly. The low end is 60 to 80 an hour. Anything lower than that, and you're almost dealing with foreigners in countries that live on a tenth the pay that we do here in the States. Okay, guys who make $300 a month instead of $3,000 a month or whatever it is. Okay, a website designer here is going to cost at least 80 an hour. And why do you want to get them instead of a guy far away anyway? They have, the further away you get from a national point of view, the stranger the logos can look, the odder the websites look. They don't really have the right appeal. They don't feel like our culture. They feel a little bit foreign. And so part of the reason that you're paying a premium for quality is intentionally to get website designers inside the US or Canada or Australia or New Zealand or London to build a website in an image that feels like home, okay, that has the right feeling. All right, 100 is still kind of the low end. 120 is much more normal. 150 is completely normal. 220 starts to get to the higher end. Okay, and the assumption is that if you're paying 220, you're not just paying for small work, you're paying for bigger work. And then beyond that, if you're getting into full-scale work like blogging plus SEO, you're paying even $400 to $500 an hour, because really what you're paying for is a stack of articles to be written by 2 or 3 people all at the same time. And you keep paying by the month, you know, that kind of thing, right? We'll figure it out. Okay, let me see. Pricing we haven't decided completely, but we're going to have different pricing options. You can bet. And so, like for instance, one of the questions came out: how do you do? Should you do the panel is expensive, but then the templates are cheap? Well, that would not be fair to guys who are creating templates, unless guys creating templates want to be able to sell them cheap, because then everyone who buys will get them. You know, would just snatch them up because they're cheap. Or should the panel be really, really cheap and the templates be more expensive? Well, that sounds reasonable too. See, these are two different plans. And so then it just starts to look very rapidly to us like we're going to put out different plans that cover different people's needs. And so we'll figure that out. We haven't gotten to pricing yet. It's kind of the last thing. No one thinks about the prices until they're done programming the item and they can stare at it. And they can also see how much it costs and how long it took and how much recovery they have to get back on track. Let me see. All right, so what else was here? WhiteLabeling, can you add a video background? Yes, you can add a video background. If you can't add it right now, you will be able to add it really, really soon, because of course we're going to make that available. How long until we get a standalone version for your own server? Guess what? We're actually doing that right now with guys who are buying professional runs from us. If you're willing to spend about $3,000 right now, we will create your theme your way for you, okay? And it's for you. We might create some kind of a generic variant that goes up on the side out of it just so more people can have availability to it, and that's a good thing. That's where people get the benefit of each other's stuff on the back end, and that's beautiful. You're going to see some of that later with some other stuff that we're doing, and you'll understand when that time comes. We have a lot happening right now that's all massive, and it's very, very cool, and I'm not even going to try to talk about it all right now. It's too big. But $3,000 will make you a website you want with everything you want, done right, okay? And it'll be yours. And if you want an affiliate system on it, fine. And you'll get it, whenever we put it out, it'll be on there. If you want the shopping cart when it comes out, fine. That'll go on there. If you want coupon code system, fine. It'll be on there. Okay, just whatever it is that you're looking for that you would want that has to do with the project we're putting together for you in any kind of capacity. It's just something you think is going to help you. $3,000 is getting you your own, and we're putting them on your website. And they're still controlled and updated from our end, from our system. So the distributable, right now, we are doing that with guys who are paying a higher dollar amount right now. Then the rest of it is just dealing with everything in the server, watching the actions on the server, learning how people are using it, figuring out how to deal with it, how to improve it in a single environment, which is just easier to handle, right? Now, let me see. Okay, I kind of already sold a project with this style website. Oops. Yes, that's okay. I mean, I don't know what you sold it for because like I said, the full-scale production is one thing, but the panels are going to be relatively cheap. We kind of reached this point. We're going to be doing a lot more servicing and letting the software support itself. We'll put out the videos, but we'll be a lot less about one-on-one support and a lot more about providing services, and micromanaging the services. You don't have to buy a whole thing if all you need is, a stack of images or something. Now, obviously, you can go get images from wherever. You can go find guys to write content, whatever. But there are times that people just straight come to us and say, okay, can you do this part for me because I can't do it? And it's like, all right. And we just give them a quote. Minimum 1 hour of work is going to be a minimum whatever it is, just depending on. Sometimes I've been the rules anyway because it's a real simple job and it should not apply to an hour. But very often we're going to charge at least like an hour of time. So just, save up 2, 3, 4 things you want done or one bigger thing and then contact us and we'll just do it, Other things that we're going to start putting out soon is doing custom programming for people's needs. They can tell us what they want. If they can understand what they want and describe it, then we can turn it into programming terms and build it for them. This is stuff we're starting to get into more. It's really interesting because then we can also take the core power of that. If we retain the rights to the core power of a thing that we designed for someone else, we can bring that in and wrap that into the main frame for everyone, the main platform for everyone, one way or another. And so this is becoming really interesting because people are reacting hard and fast. Okay, let me see. So yeah, I mean, Ty, get a hold of me later. Let me know what you got going on, and how much you paid, and let's see if we can do something within a budget that makes some sense for you. All right, let me see. Because yeah, I want to be able to get guys on a roll. Anyone that wants to go out and start selling these sites, you can sell them. Somebody asked, what's a great way to pitch people? The answer is, let's go take your website. Watch this. I'm on the air, right? Somebody tell me a website, I don't know, just like some old style website that you built or you know of, just some website. Heck, even a program website. I don't care. Anyone got a program website? Let me see who's here actually. Because they're just, you know what? I mean, I can show anybody anything, but give me a website. Somebody give me a website. I don't want to show something that I've been thinking of. And what I'll do is I'll run it through the validator. Oh, heck, I'll even use ours. Watch. For the longest time, Google did not care anything about the coding errors you have in your website. Google would figure you don't know how to code. So Google never paid attention to the coding because they could just make their system handle it, right? They could always read through your mistakes, or they could often read through your mistakes unless you did something really, really tough, right? And so the validator, right, this is magic because you can show people this on their cell phone during launch. Say, let's take a look at your website. What's your website? Let's go to validator.w3.org. Google cares about coding now. With the advent of HTML5, CSS3, and Bootstrap, Google is going to expect you to get your coding right, or pay someone or hire someone else to do it. And so then you put in your website. It could be the front page or any other page. And you go check. You know how it's going to look in most people's cases? Some number of errors, some warnings. This can even be huge. You know, we look on this and sometimes it's 46, 85, 112 errors, right? And what are you going to tell the guy? Google doesn't like this anymore. If you build a brand new website today with this kind of error structure, it's going to be extremely hard for you to rank. If you have an old website, if you did your work to get ranked, you might be floating on that. But if you're not ranked well and you want to start getting ranked well now, the first thing we have to do is deal with this. You don't have to worry about the warnings. They're more informational than anything else. That's up to you. Warnings are kind of up to you. But errors are something that Google doesn't like. And it's going to be one of the factors that holds down your rank. So you have to first make sure your website has no errors. Because I don't care if you go out and you put out backlinks in Yelp, in Skidoo, if you go list yourself in all the major directories in your industry, none of it's going to matter if you have errors on your core website. It's going to be like a whirlpool effect. You're going to drive all this water, but it's just going to whirlpool down. There's no rank. There's no pushing up, okay, if you have errors, okay? Now, the more errors, the worse, but just tell people errors are bad. So here's what we'll do. Let's take a look at our website, for example. You know, what about this one here is an example? You know, and you just show them, right? This is the kind of thing that we do. This is the work we do. Passed. 8 warnings. Those are by decision. And so this Google likes. This helps rank. It's one of the factors, but one of the more important factors of tomorrow that everyone has to get serious about. No one gets to ignore anymore. Okay, everyone with XHTML transitional version 1.0 or whatever are good unless they fix all the coding errors. Okay, if they just have a lot of coding errors, they are going to have trouble ranking after a while. Okay, unless they're just still earning it because they really got all the way up. Now let's go take a look. Now this is the front end of that site that passed HTML5, and this is an example of a high-quality, award-winning website that our team did. And you can say that. You can say that our team of programmers did because, you know, you're working with us and the programming that we do for you. You get it? And you could say this site was voted as best design, best coding background by hundreds of other designers on ThemeForce, you know, as an example. It is an award-winning site. And we can make a website for you that is based on an award-winning structure. We can make a website for you that is going to pass the HTML5 check, okay? People ask about CSS. It's not so big a thing because Google doesn't need to care about whether your styling is nice as much as the HTML in the front end. However, there is something kind of interesting. A guy showed me a CSS validation check on T2H2. We'll deal with any of that later. There are errors, CSS errors, but that's because we're still coding, so they're bound to be. However, here's the point. Google doesn't really care about CSS because that's not what Google needs to know. It needs to know about the coding. Can it read your page? Can it figure out the content, the videos, the images, and stuff? And that will come out. However, if you do a CSS check, make sure you're doing the right kind of CSS tool check. Somebody showed us a CSS check and said, don't you guys have like, whatever it was, 196 errors in your CSS? The answer is, oh, you're using the wrong CSS check. Here's the right CSS check for this kind of Bootstrap HTML5 jQuery jar environment. And it was like 23 errors, okay, at the time. And eventually we're going to weed that out, okay? That'll be one more thing you get to say when the time comes. Don't say it now. You'll get to say it later. But all you need to say to almost anyone now is, if your site is not passing that check, you need us to make you a new website. That's basically it, okay? If this is happening, it's a no-no. We have to fix it. It's bad, okay? And let's look at your site anyway. It's outdated. Of course it's outdated. HTML 4.01 transitional, right? I mean, that's old, right? And so this is what we can do for you now, you know, and this is the kind of thing you talk about. And you know what? You just win people over immediately. You know, you can show them something else. Take a look at this. Again, same thing. Completely passes HTML5 checks. Anyone want this in the back panel? Anyone want this design in C2, or I'm sorry, T2H2 in the back panel is one of the choices that you can have? Because it'll be in there probably another week and a half or so as a choice. You know, you'll get it, all right? You can do what you want with this thing. And you can use it for almost anything. I mean, it does not have to be vacation, anything, okay? Because all of it's something you can trade out. All of this is verbiage. Somebody once asked me, how do you get the color change? The answer is, if you go look at the element when you log in and you see where the color changes, go look at it. It's just wrapped inside a span tag. And when you see it, you'll think, oh, I got it. I memorized that. That's easy. You know, there you go. Okay, let me see. What else? I gotta kind of go through these quick because they're actually adding up. Oh my goodness! And say, well, okay. Do you suggest selling emoji runs for these websites, or do you suggest selling the Emoji Pro and let them do the runs? We'll talk Moji next too, because that's interesting. One thing that's important now is to realize that Moji projects should not be based on spinning an entire page anymore, because it should be based on spinning smaller chunks. There should be maybe just 12 vars in your var sheet for Emoji page project these days moving forward, because it's okay with Google if all the pages have a lot of duplicate content on a single website, as long as Google can tell that each page is aimed for a different keyword. In other words, it's aimed for a different search. That is this. If you're pitching a plumber, then yeah, there's a certain kind of way you want to say it. Google expects you to say it that same way on all of your pages if that's your pitch. That makes perfect sense to Google. But if one page is aimed for the Atlanta plumber and it's got whatever, the phone number for the Atlanta plumber, the manager for the Atlanta plumber, and then another one's for a Chicago plumber, Google knows full well that the guys who are doing the search for the Chicago plumber living in Chicago would have no interest in doing the search for the Atlanta plumber. Okay, so the point isn't duplicate content anymore within a certain website. Okay, the point is, are the pages aimed at different things? Okay, this makes Moji runs much easier to handle. So that'll become an interesting topic that'll be different than it used to be, and we'll get into that soon. Let me see. But I'll tell you what, this is the reality check. As much as selling the website is valuable, everyone listens to the concept of a big website. Their ears perk right up at the sound of hundreds of pages or thousands, okay? So try to stick with hundreds. I have a guy call and say, how much is that website going to cost me? $3,500. How many pages do I get with it? And I say, well, you're a roofer around, who knows, Austin, Texas. You know, by my accent, right? I'm going to guess that's an Austin, Texas accent. Sounds reasonable. And I'll say this. Well, if you're a roofer, there are about 40 major keywords in your industry that we need to target you for, about 40 ways people search for you, okay, for the kinds of things that you would provide. Now, how many cities do you serve? How many surrounding cities? Let's say it's 10 surrounding cities. So if you have 40 services, basically, and that's 40 keywords, and that goes for 10 cities, then the geo keyword combinations is 10 by 40 is 400. We need a page for each. So you know what we're going to almost do for Emoji Run? Create duplicate pages where all we change is the page title, the geo target in the page title, the main keyword, the geo target in the description, and some other chunks of things throughout the page. It's not going to be really duplicate pages, I don't mean that. But we are not going to spin every sentence. We're not going to spin all the words in every sentence anymore because Google doesn't like to see that anymore. They're not into LSI, or they are into latent semantic indexing. They expect if you say it a certain way, that's the way you're going to say it on every page you have. Okay, and that's where I did a video on the Roto-Rooter example, and I've since found other examples. It'd be easy for you to find other examples, and you start to realize this is why. I mean, even before going deeper into it and doing tests, you realize that's true. It must be true. You know, where Google's at now, and they have said they don't penalize duplicate content within a site. Okay, that's because they expect you to put out duplicate content on multiple pages. As a matter of fact, there's so many combinations of that just naturally are going to happen, whether you're using blocks of testimonials, whether you're laying out some charts with the gold prices for certain days. Everyone's is going to have the same information. There's so many things that will be duplicate that Google is no longer worried about that. They're not worried about that anymore. They're worried that the pages you produce are all trying to show up for the same keyword, because then you're fighting for the same keyword with different pages. Okay? They don't like that anymore. However, if you create more than one site, that's where you need to find a way to spin out your article on the other site, or just use different content on the other site, and then create, you know, a number of few hundred pages that are all basically the same on that website, but it's a different thing than on the first website. Get it? It'll be an interesting topic. We'll get into it more as we go, and I'm going to show you Moji runs in a different way now, because, yeah, you can Moji any of this stuff out. This is not hard to Moji out. Moji out flight patterns or something like that. Cheap flights from Seattle to Chicago round trip. You know, you can create individual pages with individual package offerings if you're doing a travel site like that. Okay. There we go. Let me see. Let me see. Moji runs with the web. Oh yeah, but I will say this: people's ears always perk up. You know, if nothing else, hearing that you're gonna create and you can almost call it a website expansion run, okay, where you're gonna create a page for each geo-targeted keyword they need, so that their website stretches its elbows out the full length it's supposed to, elbow room all the way around their topic, their area. Then Google sees it as an authority site, neither too big nor too small. Okay, but the right size. Okay, properly expanded outward to the right size. And that's what Google's looking for. And that's interesting. It's lean and mean production, but it also makes Moji runs easier than ever to handle. Far less work spinning. Okay, that's cool. All right, let me see. And so, yeah, you can always offer Moji runs and say, for an extra $500, we'll throw on a website expansion run. $3,000 for the website. Another $500 will extend the website from, you know, 10 pages, 5 pages, 8 pages, whatever it's supposed to be, to, you know, like 350, whatever, the full number of pages you need to canvas your topics, you know, whatever it is you're selling in whatever area you're serving, you know. And that can be large or small. That's up to you how you want to price that out. But the reality check is the website might be $3,000. The Moji run might be $500. Of course, you could do it differently. You know, you could say, whatever, the website might be $3,000 anyway. You could do that. But you could say, then it's whatever, you know, 25 cents a page. How many pages would you like? You know, and that's for guys who want to go nationwide and say, when it's 25 cents a page going nationwide, we can do the top 100 most populous cities times your 20 keywords, or I don't care, times your 5 keywords. Well, that's 500 pages, you know, and okay, then you'd want to price out at $1 a page in a case like that. If you're really going to come down to that, you better have a minimum order if you're doing it a quarter page, or you'll say either a quarter page or $500, whichever is lower, you know, something like that, or whichever is higher. I don't know. Figure it out. But yeah, you can make offers like that, and you can just do whatever you want. There are no set prices in this entire industry, right? There's just, you're pricing out. The only real set prices get back to the notion that outside of hard costs, like buying a dedicated IP address, you know, getting hosting, getting a domain name, okay? Outside of that, getting a panel, template. Outside of those hard costs, there's just your time. Now, don't undersell yourself. Now, everybody wants, they would love to prey off of you. They would love it if you charged $5 an hour. Okay? Are you kidding though? Doing this for minimum wage? Heck no. Never, 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 never sell yourself that cheap, because you are selling the best kind of website that exists today. Okay, there are no better websites offered by anyone. Go back to that website designer I was pointing out before, the Aw Dog Media guy. There's nothing about his website that's better than this one. There really is nothing about it. And by the way, all this stuff scrolled, it was all responsive, right? Like that, when I came down the page, all this stuff you can do. The best things that anyone can do, you can do. That's the point. And then we're in the back to cover your end. If you need to pay us a token amount to do a token piece for you, so what? It just makes your life easy. That way you don't have to try to figure out how to code something you don't know how to code. Just say, hey, what'll it cost me for you guys to do it? And we'll tell you. And then you can use us or go find someone else on Fiverr to log into your panel and do it if that's sensible to you. All right, let me see. So I'm doing Bennett a little bit of first buy. Are we able to attach T2H2 to our own domain host lane? No, unless you're buying a full-scale production run from us for $3,000. Then yes, it's $29.95. I'm saying $3,000. Okay, and we are allowing half down and half to finish, and then yes, then you get the T2H2 on your own domain. Okay, but like I said, that's just so we can minimize the number of outstanding templates because they don't auto-update yet, because we're doing it all in our own environment first. So we have to go update those separately. So it's a pain, right? But it's important that we do until that time comes that we can set it all up for full work across the distributable spectrum. And that will come. Let me see. When will we be able to export sub-sites from work where we're currently doing? Could be a couple of days. I was hearing that the export function might be finished today. Didn't happen, but that's because other things came up. It'll be next week. Someday next week, you guys are going to be able to export. Okay, let me see. So 500 pay. Okay. Well, yeah, you can do things like sell for 500 down, let them pay 250 to 350 a month until payoff. Somebody was asking if you're selling something and you're selling it down like that, you can do that. If ever you are making payment, allowing people to make payments, then you control the material. Make sure it's on your website, because if they quit paying and it's on their website and you go to log in to their website to take down their site that they did not finish paying for until they pay off the balance, just zip it up and download it so you don't lose it, but then take it down until they finish paying, and you find that they changed the FTP password or the cPanel password and you can no longer get into their site, hey man, they got your work and you can't do anything about it, right? So if you're allowing payments, you have to control the material in a way that if they don't finish paying, you can cut them off, change the links to someone else, who wants to continue paying. You can even sell for the difference to let someone and just say, hey, I've got a foreclosure here, so to speak. The guy couldn't finish paying. We had a case like that. A guy started up a home warranties company info site, and he paid the first like $3,000 into it, and then he owed like another $3,000, but all sorts of stuff went wrong with him, and all of a sudden he couldn't do it. I forget why. He had to move out of his apartment with his bunch of kids and his grandma and his parrot and his pug dog. I don't know. There was all kinds of things, and suddenly he couldn't do it. I think one of his workers screwed up his back, and he had to take his place, and then just threw everything off. And he lost some contract because he couldn't get it done in time. I don't know. Anyway, so what I did was turn around and sell that full-scale site for effectively half price, saying, hey, I've got this thing sitting here half paid for. Doesn't happen to me often. It's rare. Usually when people start paying for a thing, they're going to want it, and they're going to finish paying for it. But on the rare case where somebody isn't finishing, you can just start offering other guys. As a matter of fact, that's an awesome pitch, isn't it? Contact a company. Tell them it's normally $8,000, but the last guy could only pay for half, and it's sitting here half done. If they want to finish paying for it, they can get it for $4,000. You know what? Start making that offer to everyone. So you're selling something you're claiming is $8,000, but limited time offer, $4,000 only to you. You can make that offer to each and every next person. You don't really have to justify it. You don't even have to know why the last guy quit paying. There doesn't even have to be a last guy who quit paying because it doesn't have to do with the terms of the sale. If the guy feels like buying it because it sounds like a great deal to him, he's getting the website for him, and it doesn't matter who it was that had it before. So it doesn't even matter if there was a guy because it's really immaterial. Do you get it? He's just deciding if he wants to take the opportunity of getting the website for $4,000 instead of 8. Okay? Don't undersell yourself and have good, cool strategies like that. Because one of the best ways to sell is to front or to have clout. And so use opportunities. Say we, and include us as a crew, have done this business for 6 years. We are really deep in our knowledge of how this stuff goes. We have weathered massive Google storms for algorithm changes. We constantly train and teach and create better tools and stuff. Do that so you can sound like you're part of a huge organization doing it. You'll make more money if you say it that way, and that's how you should say it. And you can say it because you're representing what we have when you're selling it. Okay, let's see. Different things. Let's see. Supporting the addition. Yes, T2H2 definitely has global variables like city and so forth. As a matter of fact, if you go log in, there it is. Global variables right here. If you find any section in the system that still isn't outfitted properly for global variables, let us know and we'll make sure the functionality is inputted. Because yes, it should work with global variables, you bet. All right, there's a way to put a variable that will pull items from lists of information. For example, multiple geolocations. Save that thought, hold that thought, because we're going to do another topic later about another thing. Yeah, there's something coming up that when you see it, it's also cool. It's going to blow your mind. And that has to do a little bit with what you're talking about. I'll give you a hint. Bulk export utility, okay? Mass export utility. What's better than Mojang pages? How about Mojang entire websites? I mean, completely different templates that can be styled completely under control of an Excel form feed. Imagine uploading a form, hitting go, and it just creates like 200 websites for you that are all different, and yet the content's all created and controlled from one spot. There's stuff coming up you wouldn't even imagine. I mean, we've got this stuff going on in the background. It's awesome. You'll find out more. I don't know, another 2 weeks probably. We're going to start talking about that. We see pay for SEO, social media separately, and payments ongoing. Yeah, exactly. You can do that. We don't have people who do social media blogging or anything. Okay, we don't have guys who go list you in directories. That's a separate function. We'll do the site, we'll do the pages, the expansion run, we'll do all that. We'll get, some SEO built into the pages quite a bit, more than other guys do. When you look at the work that other website designers do, they cheat to death. All the image alt tags are crap because it's work going through all those image alt tags. If you actually try to do the math on the amount of time and effort is spent on doing image alt tags for a site, there's a couple of hours of work there. You've got to bill for that. If somebody said, how much would it cost to get all the image alt tags caught up on my site? And they have like a 8-page site, and they have like 7 images per page. Someone's got to go through 56 and think through the right kind of image alt updates and do them. Well, you're talking about 2 hours of work. Okay, so if you're charging $120 an hour, $150 an hour, then it's like $240 to $300 just for those image alt tags for an entire website, right? Now just think that way because it's very real. Those things are either upsells or they're included, or if the guy's buying enough hours of work from you in a big block, 10, 15, 20 hours of work from you in a big block, then you'll discount it. Instead of $150 an hour, you're going to drop it maybe to 80 an hour, maybe. You might drop it to 120 hour if it's like a 5-hour block. You might drop it to 100 an hour if it's a 10-hour block. You might drop it to 80 an hour if it's a 15-hour block or better, okay? Because they're getting that much work from you all at once. So they're kind of treating you like an employee for a week, or part-time for a week. And so the pay can go down to compensate, but you're still going to charge a lot because they're not hiring you and guaranteeing you income all year. It's just part-time for 1 week, that job, right? Okay, let's see. Guess what I mean was the IMM panel for us to create our own site. Since we purchased the IMM panel. Yeah, the IMM panel will allow you to create your own sites. Absolutely. It's just a question of when you output the site and the other guy gets the website, do they get an admin panel. That's something on the agenda, by the way, forgot to mention. We're going to look into what it would take to create a self-installer so that if you export a website, it can export a panel and install it, okay? There's more. I shouldn't be talking so much so fast because there's some things that we're looking into. Okay, I'll just give you a hint. What we are curious about, we think we can do. If a guy wants to auto set up domains on hosting, like a bulk cPanel creator for taking 10 or 15 or 20 domain names from GoDaddy and setting up the cPanels, attaching the websites to them, creating an email for them, a main email like support at, and then installing T2H2 in the root and another copy in a standard subdomain so that a guy has one for the front end of the site and another one that he can use for anything else, any side projects, hobbying or other client projects, okay? This is something that we are going to start looking into in probably a week and a half or 2 weeks, okay? Interesting stuff, really crazy, interesting stuff. Keep in mind what that does to prices. When you have really powerful stuff coming on board into a software and it gets working, drives the price up. One reason why, this is expensive. You know, if we just stopped a long time ago and sold what we had and never told you what we were considering next, it would still sound awesome. You would still buy it. And we'd make a lot more money by not doing new R&D. But we're doing new R&D because we just know that this stuff is amazingly powerful, what we're creating. And so we're going through just a great deal of expense by not marketing, by programming. We've been programming 14 to 16 hours a day. Several of us, a lot of us, have been just working kind of around the clock, actually, getting all this going on. It's pretty wild. Okay, let me see. I'm down to the last thing on the list. To clarify, we sell new T2H website for the development. Yeah. Full scale theme. Yes, $29.95 is the wholesale price for a full T2H2 website. And yes, we can do a website expansion package too to make that website the appropriate size for the client. And yes, it will come with an admin panel. And yes, if they're on hold to get the affiliate system or the coupon system when it comes out, something like that, they'll get that too because, you know, it's just assumed that that's part of what they're waiting for and what they want, what they're after, right? Okay. It is an incredibly cool deal. Okay, this is stuff that didn't exist some months ago. We literally didn't have this functionality just a few months ago. We didn't even start thinking about this really until what? It was like, I don't know, December, you know, near to Christmas. We just started toying with the notion. It was like this year that we started saying, let's really build this thing, something like that. So it's gotten pretty wild. Like I say, a lot of stuff is happening in the background. Okay. All right, there's going to be more. It's going to get cool. If you bought it, pat yourself on the shoulder. And if you haven't, get it. Yeah, there you go. All right, that's funny. All right, guys, okay. Somebody suggested one of the languages that we could add into the panel would be Pig Latin. Oh, that would be funny. I'm trying to picture how all the buttons would look in the back-end panel for that. By the way, that feature's going up on everything too. Right now you can do that with a code snippet, by the way. If you want to enter a code snippet, okay, just to show you real quick, any kind of a code snippet, Google AdWords, any kind of a code snippet, it's an element called code snippet. How does it work? Edit, just place your code snippet here. If it makes sense, put a title here. That way the title will appear on the page and the code snippet will be down here. That'll do whatever it does. That can be an Aweber form. This could say newsletter or join us, and that could be an Aweber form. And you can even have it spin and flip in and land on the page. Get it? There you go. Isn't that cool? All right. Okay, guys, I'm going to break off. It's been a long, cool recording. I got to actually, believe it or not, next thing after a short break is to get back with the programmers. We've got still a lot more to do. It's pretty amazing. All right, I hope you guys are enjoying this. Enjoy the sandbox. Play with this all you want. If you got questions, feedback, support, whatever else, hit the support button and put it in here. Just throw in your email, hit a message. I don't know if I'll reply to it. What I do know is we'll get it, and so it becomes part of the whole thing we're evaluating as we keep moving forward and seeing what people are interested in having us do or asking about, or if they're having an error, let us know. Say error, having an error. If you're saying it's a feature request, throw it in that way. Hey, this is a feature request, If you're saying what if, throw that in. If you're saying, hey, feedback, great job, or feedback, this sucks, throw that in. Something to just help us understand what your message is about, so we can work with it appropriately. And, you guys are close to us, we're close to you, and that means you have a really good chance of getting the things built that you want if there is the kind of demand there that justifies the amount of time and effort and money to build it. And that stuff will come. That stuff will just keep happening. I mean, I can't even imagine how many upgrades are going to go into this thing over the next year, right? Okay. You guys have fun. We'll get talking again soon. Thanks for coming. Thanks for sticking around so late into the night. It's been fun chatting with you, and I think you get a feel for what's to come. A ton. Oh, hey. Okay. I hope you guys enjoyed, and yeah, chat with you later. You guys, take care.